boost mode on, sport mode on, and go. Oh my God, jeez. What just happened? Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with the 2023 Genesis GV60 fully electric car. This is the performance variant. There are two variants of the GV60, the advanced, the performance. This thing has up to 479 or so horsepower. This thing will have over 500 pound-feet of torque when you press that overboost button. Today I'm going to show you everything there is to know about the GV60 performance. Now this isn't the first electric Genesis I've driven. I drove the G80 sedan electric vehicle. That vehicle was incredible, probably my favorite EV so far. Today I'm testing this out to see maybe if I like this better than the electric sedan and the Genesis lineup. Genesis wants to be fully electric by 2025, and this is a big start. The larger GV70 electric will be coming out, made in America, within a year or so of this recording. So let's just talk about the exterior styling. We'll jump on the inside and then we'll go on a drive. Man, this thing is cool looking. The only proportions that kind of throw me off is looking at it from the front. It kind of, I'm almost getting like Kia Soul sort of proportions, but it changes massively once you get off the front angle. I like the bisected, iconic Genesis headlights. We have these large 21-inch wheels on this performance model with oversized brakes to match all the extra ponies underneath the hood and the rear axle. Of course, it's a dual motor. I love the proportions of the side. The only thing that's kind of weird is the Vanilla Ice hair cutout of the window trim bezel. I don't know what to think about that exactly, but it doesn't bother me in person as much as it does in pictures and video. I love the blacked out spoiler here. Kind of like, you know, a little bit of the lobster claws going on the rear taillights, but it is unique. And there's nothing on the back here that says dual motor or performance, nothing like that, just a simple GV60. So we're gonna open up the rear here to check out the interior cargo space. You know it's a luxury vehicle when you're greeted by this really high quality headliner, and then we have this tonneau cover, but underneath the floor is where you're gonna find some goodies. This is your vehicle to load. You also are gonna have your tire kit here, and tucked away back here is your nice GV60 owner's manual. I took off this netting earlier before as well. Electric closing lift gate here. Got that cool Genesis logo up front. Nice shocks holding up this clamshell-like hood, and we'll have a tiny frunk in here, and this is where the charger stays. I have the charger plugged in at home, so I've been using my level 1 to top this off. For battery pack, it's the same 77.4 kilowatt hours that we see on the Kia EV6 as well as the Ioniq 5. Range is down from its non-luxury brothers on the eGMP platform, saying it's around 235 miles with this performance model with all the horsepower. Now we have pop-out handles here, just like we did in the EV6 and the Ioniq 5. Getting on the inside, well, before I get in, this nice thigh extender here. Look at all these adjustments on the seat here. Hey, look at that. That looks like a massage function if I've ever seen one. Getting on the inside, hear that door? Nice and solid. We have the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which sounds incredible in here. Head-up display. We have this clamshell opening sunroof, similar to the Ioniq 5, but the roof in here seems a little bit smaller than the Ioniq 5. The seats are neon contrasted with a dark blue. Don't know how I feel about a neon in a luxury vehicle, but I guess it's unique. It's a little bit different. We have a wireless charger here, a little bit of space underneath the armrest, heated and ventilated seats. This is your radial dial phone gear selector, but the cool thing about this, when I turn off the vehicle, it turns into a glowing crystal. So very unique. No other car has ever done that I've been in anyways. Above that is another rotary dial as well as a touchpad, and this controls your screen. But you can also use this as a touchscreen, so you have your option. And we also have volume and tuning knobs here as well as a fingerprint sensor. There's also a camera. I forgot to mention there's a camera right here that sees your eyeballs and will unlock the car for you. So you also have a fingerprint scanner to authenticate your face. Charging down here, USB-Cs as well as a 12-volt adapter. Very simple and easy to use climate control as well as a touchscreen here. The rotary dial works really good with this software, and you know, you can keep it on EV. It'll tell you how much range you have with or without climate control on. It also can take you to the nearest charger if you would like. It does have Android Auto, but you have to plug it in, so you can't use it wirelessly. Same thing for Apple CarPlay. On the door, we have some cool suede-like material around the doorknob, and then a leather-like material on top with the neon yellow stitching. Speaking of which, There are lots of customizable LED colors, and I just kind of picked the yellow color that matched the stitching the best because it's such a strange color. It's hard to match it with another LED. This controls the mirror, so I can press this button, it folds the mirror in and out, but I can also twist this, and this allows me to adjust the mirror on the outside. When we look at the other side, there's actually a speaker inside of that little circular area where the mirror controls are on this side. In terms of materials in here, everything feels really high quality. The only thing that's a little bit underwhelming is this somewhat perforated looking plastic trim here that also goes around the middle, which is pretty highly reflective. It's kind of blinding me right now with the direct sun. And I mentioned that headliner earlier when we got in the back. It's very, very high quality here, no surprise. We have dual 12-inch screens, kind of like the Ioniq 5. You can see the efficiency I'd be getting on the way out here, 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. I'll give you guys final range by the time I'm done with this review. We also have a drive mode here that will change the MID. And then you have this boost mode, which I'm not in drive, so it won't let me do it, but it gives you 10 seconds of that overboost function. 2 customizable buttons here. We also have your regen brake paddle shifters. This does have one pedal driving. I'll talk more about it in a little bit. Safety features in here are pretty excellent. And then we have this little swiper here. This will switch, well, I gotta turn the volume down. We don't need to be listening to Eminem right now. But we can swipe and it'll go through your different presets. It's pretty cool. And also will show up the radio stations on the head-up display. This little nipple, I don't know what else to call it, also controls this area here, your widgets, so you can check out weather, radio, tire pressure, probably all-wheel drive control. There it is. So there's a lot of things you can check here, but I typically just leave it on drive info right there. Now, since this is based off the Ioniq 5's platform, we do have an open floor here. This is a pass-through portion down here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can use this as a pass-through for your passengers in the back. So tons of legroom and tons of functionality. We also have a hidden compartment right here. And we also have this file cabinet like glove box. I don't know if I mentioned the price, but it's right under $70,000. Getting into the back seat, we have some nice sunshades here, excellent quality materials, just like in the front door. And we also have a heated outboard seat in the back, nice little speaker here and a cup holder there. Lots of legroom. We also have the vent on the B-pillar here, kind of like on all other GMP models that I've driven. A couple of USB-Cs in the back. For that concierge service, you can move this seat around if you need to. It's pretty neat. There it goes. Folding this down, a couple cup holders here, kind of sits in a really low spot. I feel like it should catch here, but it kind of goes down an extra few degrees. And then a real good look at this really dark panel roof. I can look directly at the sun almost. That shows you how much tent is going on with this roof above us. At 6'1", I have a good amount of headroom left, maybe about an inch or so. A lot of knee room, but there's not a lot of toe room. Can't really stick my feet underneath that front driver's seat. And here's that pass-through I mentioned earlier that goes to the front seats. Now, if I was blindfolded, I would probably think I would be in an Ioniq 5. And what I would tell the difference between this and the Ioniq 5 is the better sound system and the immense amount of power when I put my foot down. Other than that, it sounds very similar. It might be a hair quieter than the Ioniq 5. And it also might be just a hair smoother, like the suspension might be a little bit better, but we're gonna get, man, like I can't wait to do 0 to 60s. I haven't tested it at all in this vehicle. That one pedal driving works pretty well here. It's not quite as decelerant as I would like it to be, especially once you get under 10 miles an hour. I feel like you have to use your brakes more often than not. But we're gonna get up here. I got my drag meter out, and we're gonna do it first in non-turbo mode or boost mode, however you wanna call it. So I'm just gonna come to a stop here, let the regen brakes do its thing. Eventually it comes to a stop, it takes a bit. And I'm going to put it in sport mode. 3, 2, 1, go. It takes it, there's like 70. It takes it just a hair to realize you wanna go warp speed. Holy cow, that's for 0 to 60 in 4.42. That is faster than a Genesis G80 sedan that had like 365 horsepower, but it has the same amount of torque as this. So 4.42, whisper quiet, you just hear the air flying by you, and that's about it. But We know we have a turbo button in here. Well, that's what I call it, a boost button. And we're gonna try that next. But until then, what is it like out here on the highway? I'm gonna put it back in normal mode, comfort mode, I should say. You don't hear really anything from the road, and you might hear a little bit of wind noise around the A-pillar, but it's extremely minimal, and I'm trying really hard to even pick up where any noise is coming from. So Genesis has done an amazing job, just like with the electric G80, making this thing super, super quiet. And this spot right here is another great place to do 0 to 60. This is where I got 0 to 60 in like 4.2 in the RCF. So we put boost mode on, sport mode on, and go. Oh my God, jeez. What just happened? What? 4.22, so 2/10 faster, launched so much harder. You heard the wheels or the tires screaming to get any traction. And these have all season tires on them, mind you. So if Hyundai and Genesis wanted to put some performance tires on this thing, it might be able to crack 4 seconds, 0 to 60. That is just insane. That is me. It's just as fast as an RCF, but it takes no thought just to get to launch this thing. So that's pretty entertaining. We have a G35 behind us that's going to be trying pretty hard, but holy smokes. Yep, one of the fastest cars I've ever been in. It feels to 60 just about as fast as the Supra 3.0. It's just crazy. Now this vehicle costs a lot more than the Supra 3.0, but you know, I can fit 5 people in here, have no problems folding down the rear seats, picking up some furniture or something like that. So man, this thing is quite impressive. And some people might, you know, turn their shoulder to the range because people are range snobs. But realistically, if you're traveling, or you have a second vehicle that's a gas vehicle, or you're traveling by plane to go out of town, you're never going to use 200 miles of range, let alone 250 or 300. So I get what, oh man, we are in the Everglades. So I tend to forget that this time of year. I typically test out here in the winter time, which is our dry season. But yes, as much as man can try to reclaim nature, it still rains, and it rains hard, and we still have no elevation. So it's still a swamp here in the summertime in the middle of South Florida. We have orange groves to my right. That's still a pretty cool thing to see down here. And one of the greatest things about the electrification side is not the 0 to 60, because very few people are going to be rattling off 4 second 0 to 60s, even if they can. They're going to be using that power to pass people. So I'm going about 58, 3, 2, 1, and go. And it just flies into the next dimension with the amount of speed it has. So super impressive, not only from a stop, but of course, when you need to pass someone, you have that instant torque, instant power on tap. I do like the radar cruise control in here, but just like the Ioniq 5 and the EV6, when you have the iPedal on and you need to get out of the radar cruise control, you better have your foot on the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal, because it'll pretty much give you that full regen the second you turn off radar cruise control. So the vehicle essentially slams on its brakes. So you have to put your foot on the accelerator to make sure you don't get sick or your passengers don't get sick. So hopefully Genesis and Kia and anyone who uses the eGMP platform can solve this, and it would make it just for a better experience. They say they have over-the-air updates, but I'm not quite sure if that's something they can do over the air to smooth out the taking off of the cruise control. Now I'm going to throw this in the turn, and it is a firm ride, and I feel like these tires are trying really, really hard because it is such a heavy vehicle. You know, performance tires would help this thing a lot in the turns, but you still can only do so much to overcome the amount of mass that this vehicle has. I'll put the curb weight of the performance model up for you guys. So it's not fun to throw in the turns per se. It's not that fun to brake hard either, just because of the weight, but man, it is fun to get into the gas pedal. I use that term loosely, the accelerator, and just let this thing fly. Now, I've driven the EV6, the dual motor with 310 horsepower, as well as the Ioniq 5 with 310 horsepower. And that's what the base model of this comes, AKA the advanced package that comes in upper 50s. This is at upper 60s. Is it worth it to spend 10 grand more to get an extra 100 plus horsepower? It depends. I mean, it's cool every once in a while to flog this thing to get to 60 in 4.2 seconds, but not the most realistic thing, I guess. I would be happy with either Genesis GV60 Performance or the Advanced, because I know just how good that base dual motor is with over 400 pound-feet of torque and 310 horsepower. 0 to 60 and that will be 5 seconds. This is 4.2. Both are insanely fast compared to any other vehicle on the, well, I should say compared to the average vehicle on the road, which is probably to 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds. But when you're in normal traffic, you're doing 0 to 60s in like 12 to 15 seconds, just keeping up with the common Joes on the road. So it really depends on the buyer and the buyer's needs, but I'm gonna say 310 horsepower is more than adequate for the average person, especially when you're talking about electrified horsepower. It is so much more than just the numbers that you see, because it's instant and it's also beneficial when you need to get out of harm's way. It's just there to help you scoot along the second you need it, compared to a transmission and an internal combustion engine. Driving here at 35 mile an hour, it's pretty much whisper quiet. I feel like I could have a normal indoor conversation, anything under 45 miles an hour, without having to raise my voice. Just a really impressive, quiet experience. Now, do I like this vehicle better than the G80, even though it's faster? No, I think the electric G80 is a better car. It feels more luxurious, and you just have a little bit more stately feel. I think the materials are better in that vehicle as well, and that unique design on the dash. It doesn't have quite the same premium feel on the inside. It feels just a hair better than what we see on the Ioniq 5 and the EV6. So, you know, here's the thing. No, it's not as good as the electric G80, but also costs, you know, about 10 grand less, something like that. But is it better than the Ioniq 5? Of course it's better than the Ioniq 5, but I don't think it's 20 grand better than the Ioniq 5. And so the Ioniq 5 is still an amazing vehicle for the price. Rear-wheel drive, you can get that in if you want to save a little bit of money. And no one's behind me, so I'm gonna put it back into sport mode here. We're gonna overboost. We'll do one last 0 to 60 just because we can, and we'll end out the review. Boost is ready and go. Gosh. Holy smokes. That did it. That we just broke 4.22. We got 4.19 there. And I'd have to believe if we had some nice sticky tires on there, we could dial that in closer to 4, maybe even beating 4. Very, very impressive. But I'm going to get back into comfort mode and eke out the efficiency on the way home, the miles per kilowatt hour, so I can give you guys an idea of what my range is like. I'm not doing 70 mile an hour. I'm doing city plus stints of about 50 to 60 miles an hour, so it's pretty favorable. However, it's super hot down here in South Florida, almost 90 degrees, humidity's high, and of course I have the AC blowing the whole time, even though I'm just keeping it on one fan here because I want to conserve that energy, and it still does a good job cooling this vehicle. So if I have a list of top 5 electric cars that I've driven recently, where does the electric GV60 fit? Well, just because it's not the best doesn't mean it's not really, really good. So the EV6 was my least favorite, even though it looks pretty damn cool. Then I would probably put this vehicle, the GV60, and I'm factoring price in there as well. And then I would put the Ioniq 5. I think the Ioniq 5 is better than this vehicle when you factor in the price, and the materials in here, yeah, they're just not that much better than the Ioniq 5 for me to justify the price difference. And then we have the Volvo XC40 Recharge. Absolutely phenomenal vehicle. And you can get that around 60K, which competes pretty well with this in terms of price. And then the electric G80 might be the best electric car I've driven on the channel. But I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about the fully electric GV60. What do you think about Genesis aspirations to be fully electric by 2025? They're on a roaring start with the G80 electric, as well as the GV60, GV70 coming fairly soon, built in America. I think the big question is Ioniq 5 or Genesis GV60. I'd be going with the Ioniq 5 and pocket about 20 grand or so. What do you guys think? I'll see you in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's fun drive of the fully electric Genesis GV60, make sure to hit smash the like button, subscribe for more Genesis, as well as all Korean and Japanese auto news and reviews. These birds are getting their drink on. Man, those are ugly birds. Ugh. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one while I rattle off a casual 0 to 60. Actually, you know, I didn't come to a complete stop, so no one's behind me. Just got to rattle off a casual 0 to 60 here. Put it back into sport mode, boost mode on, and go. Jeez. Okay, what was that? 4.13, so, you know, that just beat my fastest time. 4.10 to 60 and the electric GV60 performance. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves and peace out.